how to buy a used refrigerator and not get ripped off. Okay, so you want to buy a used refrigerator, you don't have a lot of money, and you don't want to get ripped off. There's a lot of scammers out there, and I'm going to show you how to get a good fridge that's used. So the first thing that you need to do when you buy a used fridge is make sure that you're buying it from a good neighborhood. Even if you're in a bad neighborhood, don't buy from if you're in a bad neighborhood, if you're in the ghetto, don't buy from your neighborhood. Go to the good part of town and get it from someone that has the money to not want to scam you. Okay? Not necessarily, this is not 100% true, you know, there's scammers in good parts of town and all that, but this is just a general rule to be safe. The second thing is, if there's any red flags when you're talking to them on the phone, when you're emailing them, anything that makes you think that this is kind of weird or something, then just say no, you know. If the fridge looks amazing, but they're selling it for only $100, and there's not a good reason, like they have to move out today, that's a good reason. But if they're not moving out today and they're just like, oh, you know, I mean, maybe, you know, just follow your instincts, okay? The third thing is check the seal, okay? The seal right here will need to be tight when you close it, okay? If you're closing it, it's not sealing, and you see a big gap down here or up here, that's a warning sign that the air could be getting out. It's not staying cold. So I would not even, if any of these problems come up like this, just don't buy it. It's not worth it to fix it. The next step that I like to do is just to make sure everything is there. So you look at this freezer, and this is missing, okay? If you don't pay attention, you might miss stuff like maybe there's a bar here and it's broken, you know, but you can barely tell. So just make sure you look at everything, make sure it's not totally broken or missing. You know, I like to just make sure that everything's good here. The crisper bins are nicely in there. It has a glass piece on there. Since it's glass, sometimes you won't even see it, that it's not even there. Everything looks good, okay? Before you arrive, tell the owner of the refrigerator to keep the fridge running. Don't unplug it. Don't have them, they're gonna say, oh, I'll unplug it for you. No, don't do that. Keep it running, okay? So you're gonna get there and you're gonna make sure it's cold, okay? So I mean, that's pretty easy, just make sure it's cold. You put your hand inside there and here, and it's running, okay? But the secret to not getting scammed, because maybe it's not running, maybe it's broken, I've had it where people will put ice in here, a bag of ice, and one person literally told me, they're like, see, it's cold, it has a bag of ice in there. I bought a bag of, no, they said, see, I bought a bag of ice to show you that it's cold. It was broken fridge, it wasn't even running. It was plugged in, it wasn't even running. And they tried to throw that at me. So there's people that will downright they're just trying to make a buck and get rid of the fridge. It's pretty crazy. So make sure that if there's ice in there, that they bought an ice bag, that doesn't mean it's cold. That does not mean it's running, I mean. So just make sure, but first make sure it's cold, even if there's a bag of ice in there or not. If it's cold, that doesn't mean it's working still, but just make sure at least it's cold. If it's not cold, then that's a problem. Make sure it's cold in here too, okay? So these guys put a bag of ice in here, but no cold air got down here. So it was warm as well, you know, because the fridge wasn't working. So make sure it feels cold. That means it's just not on defrost or it's not working, okay? So there's two things that I like to do. First is I like to go behind it and I like to see if I could hear or feel the compressor vibrating, okay? So I'll kind of put my hand down there and it'll be vibrating very quietly. If I feel that or hear that, that's a good sign. If I don't, then I'm gonna do one more thing. There's a defrost timer in your fridge. So I bring a screwdriver, the flathead kind, just one side, And right in here is a notch that fits a screwdriver, and you can turn it around clockwise, and it'll make a clicking sound as you're turning it, like click, 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 click. And then when you keep doing that, and you keep turning it clockwise until it clicks, like it makes a hard click, and then you hear it come on. It'll go boom, and you'll feel the shift in the click. It's like loose or something. And if it comes on, that's a really good sign. Finally, I like to look at the year of the model. So sometimes the year will be told on a piece of paper back here, but most likely, if it's not a GE, because GE doesn't tell you the years, the year will be labeled right here, okay, for most likely. Now this is, a very old fridge, so they don't have the date or the year, but they'll have the year here. You want to make sure that it's, 2006, 2007 or newer, at least 10 years old or newer. Another piece of advice is don't buy any fridges with electronics on it, where you could push, electronics to run it. Like they might have something on here for an ice maker, or they might have an electronic thing right here to make it cold or hot. Make sure everything is dial by dial, because electronics can get messed up and that's expensive to fix. And last but not least, follow your instincts. If the person seems kind of weird or suspicious or just something, just don't buy it, okay? So my next video is going to be about how to buy a refrigerator for only 50 bucks. If you need it delivered, maybe 100, 125 bucks, which is still way cheaper than anything you can get on the market. Okay, thank you.